So that's me, Bruce, closing that down and handing over to you. So if you want to share your screen.
Great, you're seeing that.
I'm seeing that. Thank you very much. So if you want to quickly go into the reports folder and then write 3 dots on the next to example report. Yeah, cool. Thank you. Great. Opening app. Yeah. Good. So obviously Bruce has got access to this because he's a member of the team. If the person wasn't a member of the team, you just wanted to give them access to the file, you do that through the more advanced SharePoint sharing. Okay, Bruce, if you can enable your content, that would be great. That's good.
Trusted file. Trusted document, yes.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, obviously, the benefit of that is that it doesn't ask you to enable every time. Okay, so now we're in there. Bruce, if you can just right-click refresh on that data set, or we just click on data, even better. It's good, yeah. Data, refresh all. Yeah, refresh all. Yeah. So again, that's running in the background query. Okay, that's great. I was hoping it would do that. So if we just pause there for a sec, I'm really glad it did. Otherwise, we have to play some more. Okay, so now Excel's going, yeah, I opened this initial file, the example report, but this file, when you hit refresh all, is going to query other files. Now, I need to know who's actually pushing that query. So Bruce, now you have the option to either keep it anonymous and it's going to fail, so please don't do that. You have the ability to use a Windows username and login, which obviously if you've set it up that way as a security team, that's great. You also have basic. Brilliant, Bruce. You're just clicking through as I'm talking. Thank you. Now, I've never used that, but I think you can do some. You'll find a way to do some basic stuff. And then Web API is quite interesting. I think that's if you're wanting to make this more universal than an individual. And that's outside of my pay grade. Bruce is an API guru, and so Bruce, guys like Bruce would just establish an API key to this. Is that right, Bruce?
Yeah, and it kind of gives you machine-to-machine automation, not just user-to-machine. Yeah.
Great. So that's quite helpful, and maybe that speaks a little bit to when you're integrating with solutions like Power BI to potentially try and move towards an API. And so, Bruce, I might have a customer for you to do that. And then organizational account, which is your Microsoft 365 account. So that's what we're going to demonstrate today. Bruce, maybe we should do a web API video another day. But cool. Yeah, Bruce, if you sign in now, if Bruce has multiple 365 accounts, quite often pops up with those. So it's the nice thing about working with 2 screens. Microsoft gives you a lovely big fat window. Hopefully they'll fix that up. Bruce has chosen his work account. At this point, before Bruce hits OK, Bruce is now authenticating at the highest level. So you'll see that's our company's SharePoint site. It says larasoft.sharepoint.com. And if Bruce does this, and then we do the same exercise in a week or 2 with a different set of files, these credentials are going to be held inside of his Excel instance on this computer. So that works quite nicely. It just means he doesn't have to type in username and password as we grow in this kind of thinking. If as a business you wanted to be a bit more prescriptive, obviously it's a choice Bruce makes at this point. But if you click the drop down, Bruce, next to SharePoint, you'll see it goes through the hierarchy of this file. You just see it just keeps getting longer. And so you could just limit the connection to this file. But like I say, it's driven by the person connecting, not by the deployer. So we're going to just go for gold and do right at the top, remembering that that's just telling the system what username and password to use to try and authenticate. You still got all your security in Microsoft Teams and SharePoint. So if I did another file now in a different place where Bruce was not a team member and didn't have sharing rights, even though that is there, he'll still get a forbidden error message when he goes through it. So we're going to hit OK now. Or connect, sorry, Bruce. Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
And so there you'll at refresh, you may not have seen it. So Bruce, maybe you want to just delete a few rows, and then and just hit refresh again. I'm going to again just add something to that book. So I'm just gonna go in there. So I'm going to the underlying data source, and I'm going to go to Then I'll tell you when I'm ready, Bruce. So ABC this time is also buying some oranges. Going to buy 100 oranges, and let's make that special of 2 rand. Okay, I'm going to hit save. As soon as I'm done, okay, Bruce, you should be able to hit refresh now.
Great, and what we're expecting to happen is row 12 is about to be populated or something, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Let's go for it. Boom, there it is.
Great, cool. It also works on deletions. And then Bruce, if you go to sheet 2 now, obviously we would name it better. If you just do again a data refresh all, or you could right click on the pivot, but do a data refresh all.
Okay, great.
Now it's growing. So that's the thing. Thanks, Bruce. Appreciate your time this morning.
Sure, great stuff.
Great.